Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this video, we'll look at how to pronounce the words baths and bathes. We'll also be talking about the words soup and swoop and the words whack and walk. So generally speaking, the theme today is your requests that are similar words where you may have difficulty telling the difference between the two words, knowing the pronunciation. We'll talk about how to handle word pairs like these in this video. If you have a request or comment or question, feel free to leave that in the comments and I can cover it in a future video. You can also attend our live question and answer classes on Saturdays. Type your questions in the chat and I'll answer them for you live. So this request was for the word baths, the noun, and bathes, the verb. So the difference is obviously the spelling is different. Also, in the word bath, singular, and baths, plural, we have the a vowel, like in cat. So you can think about a cat doesn't like baths. So that a vowel, most of the time in a stressed syllable, letter A will say a. If you think of it as the ah vowel, because your language spells ah with letter A, you may want to retrain your mind to think about words like cat, that letter A is more typically going to be an ah sound in American English. And then when we have a singular one bath, we always use the voiceless th sound, the th sound. There's no difference between the voiceless th and the voiced th besides the vibration in the throat. So my mouth, my tongue has the same position in either case. And so when you're practicing on the th sounds, you don't need to worry too much about the voicing, except in words like baths and bathes, where the voicing comes at the end. But typically, learning the position for the th sound is the most important. Second most important is getting the voicing correct. So if I'm saying one bath, I'm going to use voiceless th. And then the rule is for a voiceless sound, when we add the letter s, we're going to get another voiceless sound, the s, rather than the z. So for example, if I have a more simple word like hat and hats, then my letter s will say the s sound. But if I have a word like that ends with a voiced sound, like read, and I add an S, I'm going to have the Z sound. Because my D is voiced, then letter S says Z, reads. He reads. He wears hats, he reads. So this is true for plurals, third person, for possessives, and third person present tense verbs. You can get more details on how to know whether to say the S or Z sound for letter S in our Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com. It's going to walk you through those types of details, sounds and spelling, plurals, all the information you need to understand pronunciation and spelling, since of course in English it's kind of complex, doesn't always follow typical rules, and can be a little bit confusing. Speaking of which, so the rule would be to say baths, and this is correct. You can say that. He takes many baths. He prefers baths over showers. But in some cases, when we add the plural, we change our voiceless sound at the end of the word to a voiced sound. So another way that people pronounce this word is with the voiced th and a z, baths. So he likes baths. He takes baths twice a week. So both of these pronunciations are correct. I can use th and s or th and z in the word baths, baths or baths. So two options there you'll see in the dictionary for the plural noun of bath. For the verb bathes, he bathes twice a week, we only have the voiced th and the z sound. So there's no bathes option. And you need to watch out here, because often when the th comes at the end, this is where you may have an error of devoicing. So in a word like breathe, for example, he breathes deeply. This should be the th and the z sound voiced, and sometimes people will say it more like breaths. Their pattern is that their brain is not sending the right signals to use a voiced sound. What I would say is the remedy for that is add a word with a vowel after. So for example, if you say he breathes in, you can hear how I'm linking together and my Z sound almost goes on the word in. So I can say breathes in. He breathes in deeply. He bathes in a large tub. So that can help you if you have that issue, if you're noticing that your Z and your TH at the end of breathes or bathes tends to get devoiced. The other difference between baths and bathes is that in bathes, the silent E at the end of bathe follows the pattern that it makes the A say its name. So rather than having the A like in bath, here in bathes, we have the A like in day. So we could think about like bathes during the day, daily bathes, he bathes daily. Just something to help you remember that A sound. He bathes in the bay. So once you can say baths or baths and bathes correctly by themselves, do remember to try practicing them in some short phrases, just like I've been modeling, because you may find that it's actually easier to say some of the sounds in a phrase. Also, you just want to be able to say these words fluently and easily as you're speaking in natural speech. So baths, bathes, if I practice them by themselves, I could master them, but then when I go to say them or use them in speech, I may have some difficulty remembering or articulating them correctly. Okay, so that was our first pair of words. Now we're going to take a look at another pair, which is soup and swoop. And these again have some spelling differences that we might want to pay attention to. Also, just pronouncing them correctly is something that we'll focus on. So for the word soup, we have the spelling is O-U for the vowel, and for swoop, it's O-O. But these two vowels have the same pronunciation. So if I'm going to write it in the IPA, for soup, I'll be using the oo vowel, and for swoop, I'll also be using the oo vowel. So the difference here between soup and swoop is not about the vowel sound, but it is the vowel spelling, and also that swoop has the consonant cluster with the s and the w together. So for soup, I could rewrite it this way. And for swoop, I probably really wouldn't make any changes in how that's spelled because it's fairly straightforward. The S says W says W, letters O say oo, and then the final sound is the P sound. So what I would say is if you have difficulty between these two, just make sure that when you're saying the soup sound that you're moving right from your S to your oo, that there's nothing happening with the lips, versus with swoop, you need to close the lips and then round them for the w consonant sound, or the w glide. And typically when we have a S blend word, there's a couple of strategies that might help you. One, try it without the S blend. So just form your W, woo, whoop, and then add your S back, swoop. Or sometimes extending and lengthening this sound like swoop might help you. Now people sometimes have difficulty moving from a rounded W, to an oo, and the error there is that they will just drop the oo sound. So if somebody's trying to say swoop and it comes out sounding more like soup, it's because they have difficulty moving from the w to the oo. And if you watch my lips when I say whoop, they start off pursed for the beginning of the w sound. So the w sound is really actually like an oo gliding into an So it's a semivowel or a glide. When I say it slowly, you can hear that it starts in that oo shape and it ends in the shape. So I lose that rounding. If I'm doing this and then I have to go back to another rounded vowel, woo, woo. You can see that I start closed. I have to open a little and then close again. That's the challenge for sounds like woo, whoa, etc., where there's a rounded vowel, a rounded semivowel, W, and then the rounded vowel after. So I would say focusing on first trying just being able to get the woo part of swoop, and then putting your S back will help you if that's the challenge for you with this word. I do have some other videos talking about the W sound more specifically, and then also how to do it with words like woo and whoa, where people have that extra challenge of doing the rounded vowel, the W sound and the rounded vowel together. You can check those out on the channel and also in our Sounds of English course, where I walk you through every sound of English, how they're spelled, and I talk about accent error patterns like these. You can let me know which words you have trouble with, and oftentimes that helps me be able to tell you what accent patterns you may have. So if that gives you that trouble on a word like swoop, you may also have trouble with other words with a W and a rounded vowel. Okay, great. And our last pair of words today was the words whack and walk. And I do have a number of videos talking about walk and work. These are challenging for some people, so do check those out on the channel. And let's take a look at, so first of all, we have walk, and then the other word was whack. So looking at walk, we have the ah vowel, and my letter L is silent. So that's one thing to know, that I don't have to try to put an L in there. Oftentimes people follow the spelling and they're trying to say walk or something where they're putting the L in. We just have the ah vowel here. So I'll rewrite it with AW for ah, like wah. You can try just saying wah first and then add your K back in, walk. Another thing to know is that the cooking pot, the wok, has the same pronunciation as this taking a walk. So I took a walk to go buy a walk. Same pronunciation. The IPA for those is my ah vowel and my K, walk. Versus for whack, our IPA, we have the a vowel, like we had earlier in our word bath, the a like in cat, and the H is silent. So just like in words like what or where, we don't say for this sound anymore. WH used to be kind of have that breathy H sound before the W. Now it's just the same as a W sound. So we just say this like whack. I would just write it this way, I think, just the A and the K, whack. Or ACK, if that helps. Thinking of it. So again, the only difference between these two sounds is that in walk we have the ah vowel, and in whack we have the a vowel. When I have minimal pairs like these, I often tell people, okay, you may have trouble hearing the difference between these two. The spelling might not help you so much. You can rewrite it and respell it in your mind in a way that helps you know what vowel is there. Another technique that is generally pretty helpful for this is pairing it with another word that has that same vowel. That way you won't hear that minimal pair contrast. It'll be easier for you. So for example, you could try, I saw her on a walk. We need to walk the dog, or let's talk about our walk. We all walk. So all of these have the ah vowel. And then for the a, you might say something like that's whack, or had been whacked, had a whack, etc. That a vowel, again, having an association with another word, I'm not going to have too much trouble between saw and had, most likely. And so when I match saw and walk together, I can make sure I make the vowel the same, and if I have had and whack together, I can make sure I make that vowel the same. Versus when I'm trying to do walk and whack, that is more difficult. It can be helpful to look at minimal pairs, and you can check out our playlist for contrasting words in minimal pairs. That's often helpful for identifying the small differences in words, learning more about vowels, getting a more sophisticated sound system for the vowels. You can also get help for that in our Sounds of English course on the website speechmodification.com. But I would say here on the YouTube channel, checking out our minimal pairs playlist if you find that helpful or if you find it challenging. In either case, I think those words and playlists and videos will be helpful for you. Okay, thanks so much for watching this video. I'll be back tomorrow with another word of the day, and on Saturday we'll have our live question and answer class. That's where you can attend, put your questions in the chat, and I'll answer them for you live. Thanks so much for watching, for liking, subscribing, sharing the videos. All of these things really help speech modification to grow, and I truly appreciate your support. I look forward to seeing you in our next class, and do remember to check out the free resources on our YouTube channel as well as on our website, speechmodification.com. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.